Well, this is definitely a movie that falls into the Happywax category of probably should have been a short film rather than a feature-length movie. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. So last night, as I normally do when I crawl into bed, I usually throw Shudder on just to have a horror movie playing in the background as I'm falling asleep or whatever. And lo and behold, this movie showed up. Now I did know it came out January 9th, and I've had my eye on it for quite some time. I just wasn't sure what platform it was going to go on, but Shudder picked it up as an original, so that's great. So if you're not I guess registered with Shudder, you know what I mean, or subscribe to it, you really should. I mean, it's only $6 a month, and I'll tell you, man, it's the horror movies that they have on there are fantastic. There's new stuff like this, there's old stuff, there's classics, there's everything. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I just like to promote that channel because it's just killer. So anyways, I sat down this morning and I watched this flick, and I am gonna chalk this up in the Happywax TV category of, you know, like a feature-length film that probably should have started out as a short film, you know what I mean, and then shopped that around and maybe waited for like a bigger budget, you know what I mean? Like that's the sense I got when I was watching this. So, but let me get through this stuff here. So first of all, it's written and directed by Roger Scott, and I believe this is his first go at a feature-length film. And then it's got a cast of like nobody's. Like if you go on IMDb, like there's actually 3 people that are in this movie that don't even have character names listed here. So, you know what I mean? And I mean, only one of the 3 main stars has a picture to go along with their name. So, I mean, we're talking about like first-time actors here, you know what I mean? But anyways, let me get through this. So Daphne Cronenthal plays Priya. She's like the head biologist. And then Sam Delic is Will, who's kind of like the undergrad student coming up. And then Matthew Cooper plays Ben, and that's kind of Priya's kind of partner. Like they're kind of rivals a little bit. So basically, let me read the synopsis. Deep in a remote marshland, 3 young biologists conduct research, but when they encounter evil, science ends and survival begins. So yeah, basically first act, we're introduced to these 3 characters. And then Priya is obviously the head biologist. And this takes place in Australia as well. So, and she takes the 2 other biologists, and they go out to do field experiments in these marshlands. I do like how this movie started out. Roger Scott, in the opening scene during the opening credit roll, he shows these microorganisms, which just by themselves are fucking terrifying looking. Do you know what I mean? To think that these things are on our skin and like everywhere, really. But goddamn, that's a horror movie just in itself. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, so they go out into this marshland. Along the way, they stop for gas and they encounter, you know, a redneck kind of asshole who gives Priya a hard time because he just feels that they're kind of you know, not letting them. Well, what they're doing is they're turning these marshlands into kind of protected areas so that they can't, you know what I mean, like infect the water, and they can't hunt on them and stuff like that. And that's how these, you know, rednecks survive more or less. And they're kind of choking them out as to where they can go and you know, hunt and all that sort of shit. So anyways, there's a little confrontation there in the first act at the gas station, and then they go along on their way. And they set up camp, and the first day, you know, Priya and she takes Will with her, and you kind of feel like there's something going on there, maybe, you know what I mean? But I got to tell you, okay, like this movie, like it's confusing. It's confusing, and it takes a long fucking time for anything to happen. Like the first act and 3/4 into the second act, like there's almost nothing happens. Do you know what I mean? It's just them. Like I said, they have this brief encounter with this redneck hillbilly at the gas station. You know what I mean? And then it's more or less them setting up camp, having some conversation, and then going out and doing these field tests. And that's it for the first, like this is only an 80-minute movie. And like for the first, I don't know, like 3/4, there's just nothing, you know what I mean? And it's just, like when they're out doing the field test, they run into the same, redneck and his wife, and they have their dog there, and he's skinning a boar, and Praya gives him shit because he's not supposed to be on the land, and another confrontation. But I mean, nothing ever becomes of it, and it's like, okay. And it's not until like I guess the bad guy shows up, which is almost into the third act. You know what I mean? But it's like, and I don't want to give spoilers for this movie, but I mean, I got to talk about it. So I guess from here on, if you don't want to hear maybe spoilerish talk, then maybe shut the video off. But it's like, I don't know, this movie's confusing and it doesn't make sense because there's scenes in like the second act where shit happens between Will and Praya where maybe they're fooling around a little bit, but then it's a dream. Do you know what I mean? And the night shots are, I mean, for a lack of a better word, horrible. I mean, you can't fucking see anything. You know what I mean? Like so I don't know. Like I don't know. Like just the night shots were really hard to see and watch, and not just them, potentially having sex, but there's a scene outside the tent and a few other scenes that happen at night, and you can't fucking see anything. You know what I mean? It's so dark, and I don't know. It was just bad camera work, I think. You know what I mean? And it's just these scenes in the marsh, you know what I mean, where like they're in this wide open area, but I think he's trying to make it feel claustrophobic. Like basically they fall in almost, it seems like they're scientists, right? And then what happens to them, science can't explain. So he's trying to show this confusion that these scientists have as they try to figure out what's going on, but they don't even really do that. I mean, the fact that they're scientists really doesn't mean a whole lot in this movie. I mean, you could have thrown in anyone, really. Like, you could have thrown in 4 rednecks into this film, tossed them in this marsh, and then have this folklore guy, the swag man, chase them around the marsh for the whole movie. I mean, it really didn't make a difference whether they were biologists or anything. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they get into this marsh, and it's almost like it's like the Bermuda Triangle of marshes. You know what I mean? They can't fucking get out of it. And then you don't know if this swag man's real but I mean, some of the stuff he does, like he's got this one, the redneck they find at the gas station. I mean, when the 3 of them are running around because they get lost, because the compass doesn't work, right? Which is why I said it's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle of marshes. The redneck comes running out of the bush naked with fucking a rope around his feet and runs over to him, and then he gets yanked back through the marsh again. Do you know what I mean? And it's like like lightning fast, and all of a sudden he's hanging from a tree upside down. You know what I mean? So they run over to him, but then this swag man comes. Like it's not. What I'm saying is it doesn't happen in real time. Do you know what I mean? Like this guy, he's just seems to be everywhere, and he's a big hulking man, and you know what I mean? And he's got like a canteen hanging off him, and he's got these big scissor shears, and I mean, he makes a lot of fucking noise when he's up on you. You know what I mean? But he seems to have the ability to fucking, not be there 1 second, and then he's right in your face the next second. Like, so the whole time you're wondering, is this guy real, or is he like a ghost, or is he like the marsh protector? Like we don't know. Do you know what I mean? And then the same thing with them getting lost in the marsh and the compass is not working. Like there's no payoff. You know what I mean? Like we never know what the fuck's going on. So, and that's what I was getting at originally with this. Like it's a confusing movie that doesn't seem to go anywhere. Yeah, we know they get into this marsh and they get chased by this guy, and is he real or not? And is this all just a fucking dream, or have they gone into some marsh dimension? We don't know, but I'm going to say it's for lack of budget, because I mean, he tries to make it kind of an artsy movie, which works in some sense, because I'm telling you, some of the overhead shots of this, like the cinematography is really quite good, but the story itself is not sloppy, but it's just, I mean, it's lacking, very, very lacking, and it just needed more. You know what I mean? Like it's not very intense, and by the time you get to the action scenes, I mean, you're just about ready to shut this off. Like if I had rented this movie, I probably would have, although I can't because I got to fucking sit through it and watch it. But and it just leads me back to this. Like I've said this, why make a feature-length film if the money's not there? Make a fucking short film. I had a short conversation with the people that did the Shasta Triangle, and and some other directors too, and I don't get it. And I'm just going to say this. Like, if you don't have the money to make a feature-length movie, then why don't just make a short film? Because all people are going to do is give your movie bad reviews. And it's like, is that what you're aiming for? Like, I don't get it. So, I mean, the potential was definitely here for this movie. But, I mean, I don't know. It's with what they had and what they put in front of us, it's not enough to fill 80 minutes. I'm sorry, but it's not. If this movie easily could have been 20 minutes, a 20-minute short film, shop it around at the festivals, let Blumhouse or somebody come along and pick your movie up, probably keep you on as director or writer, you know what I mean? And then you can get a little bigger budget. That's the way I would do it if I was going to make a movie. I would, obviously if the cake isn't there, then make a fucking short film. Really, I mean, this guy knows what he's doing. I just think it was lack of budget. I mean, this would have been a killer short film. So anyways, it's on Shudder now. It's called The Marshes. Sorry I got rambling there a little bit, but it's just, it's disheartening really, because you see a movie that potentially has potential, you know what I mean? But it's just the cake isn't there, and it really does suffer when it comes to the storytelling. So anyways, like I said, it's on Shudder now. Go watch it, because, I mean, really, for $6 a month, you're paying nothing for this fucking movie. So give it a watch. If I was going to give it a rating, I don't know. I'd probably give it like maybe a 4, maybe a 5. It's a shame really, because like I said, the potential was there, but it was lost potential. It just needed a little more oomph. So I was kind of disappointed, especially too, because I had waited a long time to see this movie too. So anyways, it's on Shudder now. It's called The Marshes. If you've seen it, let me know what you thought of it. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Come back and let me know. And yeah, guys, until next time. Stay scared.